Hi, I'm Nathan. I love to optimize health, mindset, dopamine stimulation, and utilize business systems to grow businesses fast. G'day guys, we're back again for another awesome episode where we've got a really cool guest today. And as you know, we're all about business growth and utilizing any system, tool, strategy, technique that we can do to help us all elevate our businesses and get growth. And whether it's mindset, improving our health, optimizing our dopamine levels in our brain, or just putting together business systems. So Sebastiaan Hooft is all the way from Ibiza, I should say. And he's an author, he's a DJ, he's a producer, and he lives with his girlfriend and golden retriever. What a combo in Ibiza. So welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. I love to be on your Baws episode. Yeah.
Excellent.
Happy to be here, Nathan. Yeah.
Whoever says Bawsome up front gets immediate points. So there you go. I'm just putting a little extra point down there for you, buddy. So
10 points.
Excellent. So tell us about your background, mate, because you've got the reason I reached out to you is because I was looking at your profile on LinkedIn, and it's kind of similar to what I've done in that you've got a health interest and you've got a business interest, and you're actually 3 businesses ahead of me. I think you mentioning you're on 20 different businesses. So I'm targeting there, but tell us a bit about your background and how you got involved in the whole entrepreneurial side, mate.
Yeah, I think you're going to surpass me this year because you are super active. If you look at your YouTube, it's the whole world you're creating. But I started in entrepreneurship at age 13. So my first business venture was making mixtapes. So I had 2 record tables in my bedroom and a mixer. And every Friday I cycled to the record stores. I bought records, and all weekend I was in my bedroom producing mixtapes for my friends who went out to raves. And on Monday they came back to the schoolyard, and I had the mixtapes with the new music. And I sold them for 10 euros. And if I sold 10 or 12, I had enough money the next Friday to go back to the record store and buy new records. And that were my first steps in entrepreneurship. And later in my life, I had for 3 years some job for US software enterprises. And every job ended with I know it better than my boss. So in 2002, I started an internet retailer, and the internet retailer was, within 3 years, we were a market leader. And in 2008, we sold a piece of our business to a private equity firm that made me financially independent at that time. And in 2009, I hit a wall. I had a nervous breakdown, and that was basically the end of my entrepreneurial journey, but also the start of my health journey. So I spent half a year in the hospital with a nervous breakdown, and when I got out of the hospital, I was like, I have to do this differently. I have to have a different approach. I have to redesign my life, and that's what I started doing. I started reading, started taking courses, trainings, and talked to over 500 entrepreneurs in 15 countries. And my basically I had 2 questions I wanted to have answered, like how could I have been so successful in my business life, but how could I have destroyed myself while doing that? And I noticed that every entrepreneur balances his or her life over the same 5 facets. And in that time, I got invited to do a lot of keynotes and workshops and lectures at university. And one of those lectures was at a Dutch business university. And after the lecture, they asked me, like, how did you like it? I said, well, great. I loved giving the lecture. And then they said, yeah, but we thought you hated it because you were so critical on our students. I said, yes, because they are failing in keeping themselves healthy for their entrepreneurial future. And they said, okay, do you want to give this lecture more often? And that's how the university pulled me in. And for 10 years, I was their entrepreneur in residence, working with the students and the professors. And that enabled me to research and to test all the assumptions I had for my book. My book is named Redesign. So my book is on one hand, it's my journey, talking to 500 entrepreneurs and my personal view on their answers, but also the university that brought in a lot of scientific approach to research, and that combined now is a methodology how entrepreneurs can balance their life over 5 facets. And the 5 facets are your idea, so it's what you do, it's your team, so who you work with, it's your planning, so you're understanding where you come from, where you're currently at, and where you're going to, and your resources. So what is it that makes you successful, but also what are you missing? What's your ability to acquire what you don't have? And the 5th element, and that's the Achilles heel of many entrepreneurs, young, old, experienced, inexperienced, it's health. And it's how you measure how well you're doing. Because a day before I went into the hospital in 2009, if you would have seen me a day before I went to the hospital, you would say, oh, Sebastiaan is doing great. He's driving a Porsche, he has a villa, he has a girlfriend, he has kids, his business is in all the charts, he's on the quote young rich list, he is in the Fast 50 number 8, and he's doing great. And the next day, I was in the hospital. And probably if you would have told me the day before I went to the hospital, like, hey, Sebastiaan, you're doing great business-wise, but as a person, you are going down the drain, I would have said, no,
Wow,
that's not true. And the people around me, they would have said the same. They would have said, no, Sebastiaan is always okay. He's a survivor, everything he touches is gold. And it turned out not to be true. And if I would have measured, and if I would have a network of mentors that I would have talked to on a regular basis, they would have seen my decline. If I would have measured my body, you would have seen the decline. If you have measured my bank account, okay, that was growing. But it did not balance out the health issues I had. And now, in my book, I write about how you find that balance. And so now for me personally, I use my own book as like a blueprint for my life. And it's working out. I make a lot of mistakes. And there are days that I think like, Sebastiaan, you should read your own book again. But I'm doing better. And also the people that have read my book, went to my lectures or went to a workshop or to a keynote, the response I get is that, hey, Sebastiaan, it either helped me grow as an entrepreneur faster, or when people are at crossroads of life and maybe already feel that they have a burnout, they said it helped me, create a safety net for myself. And they start building a network of mentors. And you're probably, for a lot of people with your podcast, a mentor. Probably a lot of people reach out to you for help, and you give them guidance. And it's important as an entrepreneur to have people like you, people like me, in your mentor network to keep you sane. And that's. I think your question was, tell me something about your entrepreneurial life, but I can.
That's a great summary. So if you just take us back, because obviously you had this really intense period of time where you were entrepreneuring 24/7, probably. You were really pushing the limits. So what was your lifestyle like up to that wall that you hit in 2009? Just describe an average sort of day in the existence of Sebastiaan. What was so intense about it? What were you doing?
I've always been a hard worker and a perfectionist, and that's a deadly combination. So my day would be get up at between 5 and 6, go to the gym, work out, go to the office, start up the whole office, assist the first employees that came in, and then my day was divided in per 15 minutes. So when I started my business, if you would have a meeting, you would have a meeting with me that day. Later it was okay in the morning or in the afternoon. Then it was like per hour, and then it was per half hour, and then my meetings were per 15 minutes. So I had this whole stack of paper, and every 15 minutes was a new meeting. And during the meetings, I was on my computer or on my phone, and it was a lot of stress. I didn't feel the stress, at least I thought I didn't feel it, but it was like a non-stop pressure during the day. And then in the evening, I would have a first dinner with clients or suppliers or business partners. And then 2 hours later, I would have like a second dinner with another batch of people. And I would go home at midnight. And then I would do like emails for 1 or 2 hours, fall asleep probably with my phone like this. And yeah, that was
Jesus.
every day. Also Saturday, also Sunday, also Monday, and there was no rest, no rest. It was
Yeah.
non-stop. And I think the real problem started when I started skipping the gym,
Hmm.
when I stopped going to friends, when I stopped talking to my partner, my partner in life, and yeah, I think that lasted 1 or 2 years, and then I hit a wall, and I
Yeah.
woke
Well.
up in the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you were doing heaps of hours. You're putting a lot of hours. The physical activity, which improves our dopamine and makes us feel good and reduces our cortisol and our stress hormones, that went out the wall, and it was just go 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 by the sounds. The eating, the diet side of things, obviously went out the window as well. That was, would that be right? The food that you
Well,
were
the
having.
weird thing, and this puzzles me, is uh, nobody in my life ever taught me how to eat
Mm,
or taught me about vitamins or
mm,
minerals or nutrition as a whole.
mm.
I just always ate what was the nicest thing on the menu or the easiest to grab. It was all junk. It was junk, junk, junk. So
Right.
when I went to the gym on a daily basis, okay, you kind of even it out. But when I stopped going to the gym, my body
Mm,
exploded because
mm,
I would go to a dinner, a second dinner, and on the way back, I would go and grab a hamburger from the drive-through because I was still hungry. And I was
mm.
all day eating, drinking sodas. I had like this fridge in my home with different types of soda. I was a soda collector, but the soda
Wow.
is one of the worst things for your body. But
Toxic.
nobody
Toxic.
ever taught me. And for me, a whole world opened in 2010 when I saw the documentary of Joe Cross. And Joe Cross was obese, had an autoimmune system, and he made a documentary where he went traveling through the US with a juicer and veggies. And in the documentary, you saw him getting slimmer, but also lose the autoimmune disease. So I
Awesome.
typed an email to Joe Cross. I said, "Hey Joe, I watched the documentary, super inspired. I had to watch it illegally because it wasn't available in Holland where I lived at that time. So I'm sorry. Can I send you the money for the documentary because I really?"
Bless.
And I got a reply. He's Australian, like, "Well, it's okay, mate. If it worked for you, then it's fine." So that's how we became friends. And even in my book, there's one chapter Joe wrote about health. So there's one chapter I wanted to honor him because it's not that he saved my life, but he saved the quality of my life. Even
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for Joe, I would have never discovered nutrition. And then later, I started drinking the green juice, and just like Joe, I lost a lot of weight. People came to me like, "Hey, how did you do that?" So I was like, "Yeah, just drinking green juice." And then people were like, "Oh, isn't that dangerous, drinking green juice?" And I was like, "Is it dangerous
Isn't that
drinking
funny?
green juice? What is?"
Isn't that
But I had
crazy?
no
Yeah.
answer. I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
it wasn't dangerous because I felt great. I knew that switching from fast food to green juices probably was a good thing, but I could not give the answer. So I went to Stanford, they had free nutrition courses. I went to friends that are running shops selling vitamins, and I asked for a lot of help. And it took me probably 3 to 4 years, you know, to get an idea of what vitamins and nutrition, what they are and how, and that it's specifically focused on you as an individual. So that's why in health, I'm not saying health is going to the gym or eating healthy. No, it's how you measure how you do that. So today I went to a boxing gym, and it's called Brooklyn Boxing. It's here in Ibiza town. And you go in, and in the punching bag, they have a sensor. And whenever you punch, they measure three things. And you in an app, you can see your progress in the gym, and I love that because it gives you an idea how well you're doing. In 2 years ago, I had a problem. I forgot the name. They took it out. I forgot the name, but uh, I felt miserable. But I could not explain where it came from. But in my health data, so in my sleep tracker, in my wrist tracker, you could see that my sleep became worse, that my heart rate went up. So you could see something was wrong. So they measured the inflammation levels in my body, and within an hour was at the hospital, and they took out my I forgot the name what it is, but I've got a scar here. And without the health data,
Appendix, maybe? Appendix, was it?
yeah, it's not the appendix.
No. Oh, that's right.
Gallbladder.
Oh, gallbladder, right.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
They took it out, but you could see in the data 2 weeks before I went to the hospital, I went down. And
Yeah.
so I learned that the data gives you personal insight, but you also share it with people around you. With my sleep data, probably is a good indication for how friendly I am that day. But if I sleep bad for 2 or 3 days, I get grumpy. So
Right.
I know
Yep.
I have to take action and make sure
Yeah.
that go to bed earlier, don't set an alarm, cancel meetings.
Sleep is such an important thing, and we can't replace it. There's no pill, supplement, or anything else we can do that replaces sleep. It's just such a primal, basic need for business growth and for sanity and general health, right? So, yeah,
I agree. Yeah. And
yep,
Simon Hill has a PDF. You can get it for free online. And in the PDF, there's a whole instruction for a blood work test at your doctor. Because most doctors, if you ask for blood work, they will just give you a simple test and to see if you're sick. But actually, you want to know how well you're doing. So if you go to Simon Hill, there's a PDF. You can download it for free. You give it to your doctor. I did it here on Ibiza 3 months ago, and it turned out that my iron was super low. So now I get an iron infused tomorrow just to up my iron. And
yeah.
yeah, if you don't measure, you don't know
No.
where you are.
No, no, and there's we're all running around with nutrient deficiencies and wondering why. And then when you talk about what you were eating before and the sodas and the sugar, all these things just deplete our bodies massively of nutrition. And I think it was hilarious when you said, these greens, people think, oh, they're dangerous. Well, how is a glass of green juice compared to a glass of soda? Let's get real here. What's the difference in danger? I think you'll find out pretty quickly when you hit that soda, right? So
I must say, in 2010 was a different world. In 15 years we progressed. In 2010, I started making green juices. You had to go to a specialty store to buy a juicer, a slow juicer, and then within 2 or 3 years, all over Amsterdam, slow juice bars popped up. In San Francisco, slow juice bar. In New York, in all the cities I went, you had all these exciting new stores that made like these awesome juices, and now you can get them everywhere. But in 2010, it was just
yeah,
uncharted
yeah,
territory. So in
it's
the
all new.
15 years, yeah, I interviewed a bunch of producers at a music academy, and after 6 interviews, I said, "Okay, how do you manage your career?" And they all said, "Yeah, you also have to be healthy because when you're touring, you need to eat healthy." And I was like,
For
"Oh,
sure.
the answer they give is the same answer." So probably at school they were taught, okay, if you're a musician and you go on tour, you need to have a healthy food regime. 15
Yeah,
years ago, they had a healthy drug regime. Just take a lot of drugs, make sure you're awake while playing your music. And there's pizza, there's burgers, and sort it out yourself.
It's interesting, isn't it? I even see that when I go to the gym and there's just all these young kids there and they're just so focused on fitness. Back in the day, it just didn't exist. People, there wasn't many kids and it wasn't fashionable to be into health. But now it was all about getting drunk on the weekend and taking drugs. And now there's this massive shift and all the youth are really focused on looking after their body, and it's freaking awesome. It's absolutely amazing. So it's just so nice to see that shift, I guess, as they've become more educated, like yourself, and learn all the techniques and about, well, yeah, actually we do have to put good fuel into our body if we want good action out of it. So it's a great thing that's happening, I think, globally there.
And it's so weird because when I was young, the knowledge was there because I read books that are 50, 60 years old with stuff in it that we use today. So the knowledge was there. And I don't know why our parents thought, oh, let's not, do that anymore. Let's, eat all the highly processed food. Yeah. Probably they were addicted to.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because my background, as I was saying before we started recording, is I'm a naturopath. I was trained in naturopathy, and my mum was a super big hippie. She was a real hippie, and I always jokingly sort of say, you can judge how much of a hippie person is by the volume of alfalfa sprouts they consume. And she used to send me to college studying naturopathy with a big jug of green juice, exactly what you're doing. So
nice.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones that was brought up with that nutrition, and unlike yourself, who had to discover it as after hitting the wall. So, I mean, in retrospect, what are the key things that you would recommend? You've been through that pretty tough time when you ended up in hospital. What, as an entrepreneur, are the big factors that will prevent that hospital trip for us?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is find a framework. It can be my book, but there are other frameworks, to balance your life. And after 500 interviews, I think my framework is the best, but probably there are also other good frameworks. So find a framework and just start using it. And then secondly, start to build a network of mentors around you. Just take 3 or 4 fields in where you feel uncertain or where you need help, and try to find people that are more experienced than you in that specific topic. Approach them. You don't have to know them. You can also find them in the newspaper, in the magazine, or whatever. Approach them and start to ask them questions that are for them interesting to answer. And the most people like to talk about themselves and their career and their achievements. And so let's say you want to lose weight. Try to find somebody that already lost a lot of weight. Let's say you want to grow your business. Try to find somebody that already grew 1 or 2 businesses. So try to find people that are more experienced than you and ask them stimulating questions. And don't pay them money, because if you pay them money, they are coaches or consultants. No, just ask interesting questions. And it's up to you, your responsibility to ask the questions, and also give them a nice coffee or whatever they like, what makes them feel
or
good.
green leafy vegetable juice, right?
Yeah, make them I have one mentor, and he's an experienced entrepreneur, and he's a financial guru. And I suck at finance. So whenever it's about finance, I go to him. And he has a juice machine, but he never uses it. So before I go, I make this fresh green juice, put it in my bag, and we drink a green juice. And that makes him feel good, because not only because of juice, but because he can talk about how he developed his knowledge about finance and what his ideas are, what his vision are. And I always say, like, can we do 20 minutes, 30 minutes? And it's always an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah.
And make sure that you are the one bringing the energy. So try not to suck energy from your mentors. Bring the energy. And you can also connect your mentors to each other. In Amsterdam, I used to do a Sunday brunch I would invite all my mentors to my home. I would have a fruit salad and croissants and slow coffee. And we would always have between 10 and 15 people because I said, okay, you come, but also bring an interesting friend. There was always this thing. I did it twice a year. And for them, yeah, in meeting my mentor network and their interesting friends was a benefit of being being a mentor. And I think that is the strongest decision your viewers can make today is to make a list. Okay, where do I need help? Be honest about the things you're not good at or the things you need help. Write them down and just say, in the next month, I'm going to find for one of the 3 or 4 a mentor. And the month after that, a new mentor. So it will take you probably 4, 5, maybe 6 months to create a network of 4 mentors. And if you can do that this year and end this year on the December 31st with 4 mentors in your network, you've done great. You've probably helped yourself find a lot more balance in your entrepreneurial life.
Definitely. And I love that. It's just really asking the right question. And it's amazing when you do frame it in a way that you can get an answer. It's phenomenally powerful when you do that. Like, as you say, I've got a weakness in my marketing or in my finances. I need to find someone, and just literally expressing that thought pattern, with the law of attraction, all of a sudden people come into your life. It's very, very powerful. Great tactic. And I use that quite regularly. I actually do that when I'm waking up in the mornings and I'm just in that meditation zone, that really sort of sleep coming into consciousness, and then just think of, right, what do I want to achieve today? Who do I need in my day to help me achieve what I want to achieve? And then get clarity by asking that question. It's quite phenomenal. I did it the other day, and before I had reached I always get up early and go for a swim down the beach. Before I'd got to the beach, I'd had 2 people had come into my life through the phone, through the WhatsApp and email, who were exactly what I was looking for. I hadn't seen them, hadn't been introduced to them before, and they just randomly reached out to me. It was like, oh, this is awesome, this stuff. So
How do they call it? You manifested it. I'm not a spiritual person, but this looks like manifestation is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an interesting, we won't go into too much detail, but there's an interesting connection between dopamine and swimming down the beach and getting that cold hit. And I find there's a great connection with the law of attraction of just bringing good stuff into your life. When you're frequenting at a higher energy, you just seem to attract more opportunities to you. But whatever it is, it's pretty cool if you can get it working on your side in business and in life, right? Yeah.
Well, that reminds me of a book I'm reading, and I live near the sea here, the Mediterranean. You take a swim in the sea, so probably you live near the beach too. And there's a whole book on how healthy it is to live near the water. I only read the intro. Maybe we can put it in the show notes for the listeners. But it's a really interesting book. I've always lived near to the water, and now we live near the Mediterranean, and it's every morning. It's like a refreshment of the brain. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, you just gave me a spin around with the camera. Can we do that for any of the viewers?
Yeah,
it's pretty nice where you're hanging out. So that's the ocean over there, is it? The other side. Beautiful.
So unfortunately, this is the way to our rooftop. It's a better view from what they call the solarium here, but they just redid the whole rooftop because this is Ibiza. And workers are really scarce, so we're kind of disorganized now in the home. But maybe we can put a picture of the view in the show notes, just for the viewers to have an image of what the Mediterranean looks like. Yeah.
Beautiful. Lovely part of the world. I've never been. I've been to a few of the islands around there, Ios, Mykonos, and a couple of other ones, but love to go there. Tell us how do our viewers get in touch with you? How do we tell us how they can get a copy of the blueprint of your book?
Yeah, so book a flight to Ibiza. invite
Yeah.
me for a green juice here on the island, and I'll give you my book for free. If that's not within your budget or schedule, you can go to any bookstore, order my book Redesign, and always when you've read a book, drop me a note on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, doesn't matter where, Instagram. Drop me a note and just tell me what you got out of the book, because for me that's important, because I want to write my second book and I need input from readers. But yeah, if you're on the island on Ibiza, just treat me on a green juice, and I'll give you my book. And also in my next book, an important topic is going to be learning how to say no. And I know we talked about this a lot, and for a lot of entrepreneurs I meet and a lot of readers of my book, they are entrepreneurs and they are wired to say yes. That's probably how they got entrepreneurial. Yes, I want to do this.
Yes.
I want to. And they always say yes, yes, yes. And at the beginning, that's really fun because a lot of stuff happens. But as time progresses and your business grows, it becomes cluttered in your head, in your business. Always saying yes. So learning how to say no is one of the most important traits of a growing entrepreneur, and probably in life as well. We can talk for hours about learning how to say no, but in my next book, that's going to be really important, because I realize that a lot of us, we struggle with saying no. Me too. I moved to Ibiza, so my whole Amsterdam social life disappeared. And then you have lots of time on your hand. And when you're new to Ibiza, there are all these creative people here. They have 1,000 ideas a day. And before you know it, within a month, you are cluttered in your head, cluttered in your life, because everything is interesting and you say yes.
Yeah.
And also Ibiza taught me, no. No is a full sentence. Just say no.
No is a full sentence. I love that. Yeah, no, full stop, period. Yeah. Well, I think we need to have probably another connect down the track when you got that book ready. As you can see behind me, the little icons, I have a very bad habit of not being able to say no. But so many entrepreneurs are the same, as you mentioned. We just see opportunities everywhere. We got to do that. And it's not always a good idea in retrospect. But no, that's lovely, mate. Well, we'll connect. We'll put your links for LinkedIn and your website, etc. As I said, I was just listening to some of your tunes before we came on. Very cool stuff.
Thank you.
So I'll put all that in the connections and the notes. And thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming on. And
just one question: was this Bawsome enough?
This is
leave a comment if you think this was Bawsome.
Exactly. All right. Yeah, give us a Bawsome rating for today's
nice.
Yeah.
Bawsome rating.
Bawsome rating, absolutely. Lovely, buddy. Thanks for being on the show, and all the best with the book and keeping your life in balance.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Keep optimizing your health, mindset, and business. Be Bawsome and make business awesome.